Welcome back to another episode of the Smoke Pit. I'm here with a special guest today, and it's Nick Koumalatos. A author of 4 books, an entrepreneur, philanthropist, a great husband, a great dad, and a good friend. Nick Koumalatos. How you doing, Nick?
Thank you for having me on.
My pleasure.
I guess technically a former boss.
Former boss, yes.
Former boss.
Yeah.
Sometimes I see you, I'm like, shit. Let me shave my mustache.
Trim my hair, maybe get a haircut.
You weren't really bad about that. There's only one time, and you must have been getting heat for it. We were in Iraq, and I had the most shittiest.
I don't know if they call that a mustache, though. It was more of like a flavor saver than it was a mustache, dude.
It was in my younger years.
Yes.
With facial growth.
Yes. Stories to tell the
but
grandkids.
I remember you were like, I don't know how you even said it. You're like, can we just trim it up a little bit?
Just a tad.
Just a tad.
Get out of your mouth so you're not tasting your food for the second time at the end of the day.
Oh, man.
It was good.
It was Iraq, right?
Yeah, that's what it was.
Give a fuck meter on everybody there was like not that high.
No.
Not in that world anyway.
No, especially during that time frame. You figure 06
it was a surge.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a lot going on.
There was a lot, for our deployment for sure.
Oh shit, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we as a company, we did really well across the board. We took a lot of casualties though. I think that was probably the biggest stick in my heart was that we couldn't protect a few guys that did pass, but it's part of the job.
But overall, we did. As apart from that, it was horrible, right?
Yeah.
Stuff that we still carry with us today. We did really good. Those platoons now looking, being the age that I am now, you are. My personal opinion, looking back, was like, wow, we did as young as we were, the men doing the job.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. Look at Tony's platoon. Those guys are all brand new ARS guys, BRC dudes.
They're all babies.
Yeah, we take them to Hawaii, and like they didn't know what to shit or whine or watch. Sometimes they're like, we're training in Hawaii. We're in the Pakaluka training area, freezing our butts off.
So for those who don't know, Stu was my ops chief for almost 2 years.
Yeah, 2-3 years. Yeah.
And then Phil took the company ops chief, and I got promoted to platoon sergeant for a little while. And just real quick, those that don't know, give them your background.
26 years in the Marine Corps. 25 and a half of that was within the recon community. I did spend 3 years in MARSOC to run the schoolhouse. I wasn't a MARSOC Marine. I was a.
No, you were there to.
I was there to teach these MARSOC.
No, you were
guys.
there to get rid of MARSOC.
Yeah, I was.
We'll talk about that later.
Yeah, we will.
I wasn't drinking no Kool-Aid. Let's put it that way. But yeah, I mean,
where'd you start out in recon?
I started out at the 2nd Recon Battalion, right out of SOI. I was very fortunate for me as a Marine to get out. I mean, the funny thing is that in boot camp, I had 2 drill instructors one was Force Recon, Sergeant Black, and another one who was Recon Battalion, which was Sergeant Ortiz.
Yeah.
And those 2 guys,
What year was this? Let's just put a date on this motherfucker.
It was 1986.
Damn.
and some of the listeners out there probably weren't even born yet, or
no, definitely not.
Yeah,
1986.
Yeah. I went to the Marine Corps.
I love seeing your guys' old photos, like when I came in and like the old 80 recon. Like, you think you're tough. We have a lot of equipment. We have a lot of new tech. We have a lot of abilities and different things like that. But I feel like back then it was just grit.
That's all it was. I mean,
you didn't have anything.
Yeah, I mean, you're carrying 77s with the 57. I mean, the weight right there was 23 pounds without batteries. Then you had to add your batteries. So now your ruck's 110 pounds.
And guys complain
85.
now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Their total kit weighs about 45 pounds. They're like, oh my God, this is heavy. Dude, my first kit weighed 80 pounds. It's like, it's at the end of the day, obviously the military evolves, but the UDT shorts and the black silkies will never go out of style.
Never.
I can't fit them over my damn legs, but I still have my original UDTs. My wife's like, did you ever have a shirt on when you were taking pictures? I'm like, why? When you look as good as I did then, there was no reason to put...
There were if you look at the old float boards of the old 80s and early 90s, nobody had shirts on, and it was just UDTs.
UDTs or surfing sand. It's how it's evolved, and people got away from that, if you think about it. Back in there, we were talking camaraderie on my last show.
Yeah.
And my team, I had the same team for 4 years at 2nd Recon Battalion. We went to Saudi together. But we partied together. Our platoons were at each other's houses. Our wives and our girlfriends knew each other. So when we got deployed, the platoon that was getting ready to relieve us would help take care of our families. And there was no hanky panky stuff going around. You never had that because that was a common thing. You said no.
Yeah.
You didn't cross that line
There's,
because
I think that there was a higher set of men's more. I mean, across the board,
Yeah.
if you look at men in America in general, back then there was a higher level of men's morals, across the board than there are today.
Oh,
in
without
the
a
past,
doubt.
in the past 20 years.
I mean, you even hear. I mean, you're more younger and still have some more of a heartbeat than what I do with our guys back in the day. It's not unheard of where a guy's on deployment comes back and his wife's tapping somebody else in the battalion or somebody else in the
It happens.
within the unit, and it's going. Wow.
I remember in during my time, every once in a while something weird would happen,
Right.
but it was like a hard no.
Yeah.
It was like, dude, I remember like when I first came into Second Force, if some dude even dated some girl, she was like tainted.
Yeah.
You're done.
Yep.
You're out.
Yep.
Nope. You were with so and so. Plenty of fish in the sea. Not touching that drama.
Yeah, and you just couldn't do. And the thing was that it was kind of sacrilegious. If
Right.
you haven't looked at somebody else's girlfriend or wife or made a comment, like today, it's so easy. I look at her and check. Dude, you don't do that. I've never, and I'm the biggest flirt known to man. Never made a comment about another man's wife. Just never did it because I thought it was wrong. It's like I don't have any girls as kids.
Yeah, we were just talking about that, all the guys on my wife.
Yeah, and I'm like, I can't. Yeah, I could never do that. I just can't look at another man's daughter or wife and make a comment.
Dude, they comment on my stuff about her. Like, damn, I need to see her naked. Bro, this is like, you just said that to me.
Yeah.
That's my wife.
And that's to me, that's ass whooping, dude. I'm telling you right now, 10 minutes. I'll give you 10 seconds of ass whooping. I'm telling you, because you don't. Again, we were talking earlier about the trolls. Why you got to make a comment about somebody else's wife? Admire her from a distance, but don't make a comment.
Keep your
on
mouth
it.
shut.
Yeah, there's no reason for it. There's other women out there that are just as hot. Are you making the same comments because you know Nick and Alice and you know them? So I mean,
Well,
you're
they
gonna make a
don't know
comment.
us.
Well,
Yeah.
they know you from social media,
Yeah.
but not know you like I do.
Anyway, so back in the day, you were.
Yeah, I was a second recon battalion from 1986, June of '86, and I went to Second Force in '91. I was at Second Force from '91 till '97. I left there and I went to Okinawa to 3rd SOTG. I stayed 12 years in Okinawa, so I spent 9 years with 3rd SOTG.
That's
and
where I met you.
Yeah, and I knew that. I mean, we were teaching.
Yeah.
Everybody going down range, and I'm like, I need to go down range. I need to figure this out. So I knew 3rd Recon Battalion was in a shoot to go as I'm getting ready to rotate. So I called Carl Froese and say, hey, dude, I'm not leaving this island. I'm going to 3rd Recon Battalion. I'm deploying. So I went there, did my first deployment up there with them, and then came back as the battalion ops chief and went out in their second deployment. And then I got orders. I got orders to go to 2nd Recon Battalion. Initially, I'm like, oh, that's great. I do my Twilight Tower there. I started my career there. I ended there. And again, Carl Froese was the ops chief for 2nd. He went to go down range with them. So they changed my orders to go to MARSOC to run the schoolhouse.
I remember that.
I was
like
pissed.
Motherfuckers.
I was pissed.
You're like, fuck these guys.
Well, the problem is that, don't get me wrong, where they're at today and where they were then, it's a huge difference.
No, it's not even the same.
Yeah, we finally got our heads out of our asses and used the SF model to get our guys trained to where they are today.
Yeah.
The problem is that we used the FMTU cats to start MARSOC. And they were all the shitbags we got rid of out of our battalions. We sent them to FMTU.
Hey, it's funny. I just did Josh Hansberger was just in town, and we just did a podcast, and he had the opportunity to go to FMTU, and he was like, nah.
It's not where you go.
Yeah, and he was like, no. And he's like, thank God I didn't go, because I would have been one of those cats.
Yeah. Because when I checked in the schoolhouse, initially I was going to a different section, but that section had 3 Marines.
Yeah.
Some of Master Guns taking care of 3 Marines. I wouldn't have done shit. So I said, hey, why don't we just send you over to MSOS, the schoolhouse itself, and I'll take care of all the training. I was like, yeah, I can do that.
Yeah.
I'm still going to fucking fire everybody I can get a chance to fire. The shitheads. My first day there, I fired 2 staff sergeants. Said, pack your bags.
I remember.
Yeah, I was like,
I was happy to see you in the command, because, I came over, I think around 2007.
yeah, right after our deployment.
Yeah. Yeah, so I came over too, and I was happy that you were there.
Well, a lot of guys that were there that knew me were happy, but some of the guys that were there that didn't really know me weren't too happy by the end of the day.
I just knew how you operated. I knew how you, because you were always very hard, but dude, out of all the people that I've worked for, you and Phil, probably by far the best 2 staff and CICs that I've ever had.
You're saying that because I'm sitting in front of you.
No,
Yeah.
I say that. I've said that publicly.
Yeah.
And me and Phil have got like,
Yeah.
me and him have gotten into it. I was like, you're a shitty fucking platoon. I think I got into it with you too.
Yeah, everybody has at least once. But yeah,
I was like, you're a shitty fucking platoon sergeant. And he's like, you're a shitty fucking team leader.
yeah. It was funny is that while we were there, that we had that big scandal. You couldn't go to the S4 unless you did his paperwork. And
Oh, it's when him and you got
yeah.
it.
So for the first time, he sends me, him and Tony and Davis sent me 400 individual emails in less than 2 hours. So I went over and I said, hey, dude, what are we doing? You know the rule. You can't just send any willy-nilly over there to the S4.
Yeah.
He said, that's bullshit. I'm a platoon sergeant. I can send where I want to. So I left and went back to my office.
Which was right across the hall.
Right, literally right across the hall.
Yeah.
So next day I get up and I got a little over 600 emails in my inbox from that little shit. So I'm like, I'm done. I get up. I go in his office. I tell Willer, I said, get out. Get out. He goes, what? I said, I'm kicking this little shit's ass and no one's going to watch it. So he's running around the back of the table. And I'm thinking, dude, stop. I'm going to catch you eventually because you can't get out of this room. And then he calls my wife and says, hey, Stu's being a dick. Blah, blah, blah. It's like,
because how long have you been friends at this point?
Shit, 9 years.
Not just work together. I mean, like,
you're
like best friends.
Yeah. I mean, we went on damn trips together for Christ's sakes.
Right.
But yeah, the comical part is that as pissed off as I was hitting him. There was no ifs and buts about it. I was hitting him.
I love you, but I'm gonna beat your ass.
And he said something that was just so funny, kind of broke that mood. And I'm going, bro, I was so pissed, and now I'm like, I can't
What
do
the
this
fuck
to you.
are we doing?
Yeah.
He's funny, man.
He is, and I love him to death. You know, I see him one week out of the month, every month. So he's another story, man. He's done so well in his life and the heartaches he went through. But I think we've all done that. People think that success comes easy. They're full of shit. The background and stuff, you know, when like you're always preaching, you know, why am I doing what I'm doing? What's my purpose? You know, and part of that transition. And I think for what the voice that you're putting out is phenomenal to these people. They need to understand that it's not always roses being successful. There's a lot of turmoil to get to that success. You know, sleepless nights, you know, you're worried about money. You're worried about how am I going to do this or where I'm going to get that. And
then priority. I think the biggest thing is people have and something everybody struggles with is their priorities, right? They're trying to become successful, but you can't be rich without a family.
Right.
That's not successful. Now you got a bunch of money and you're at the finish line by yourself.
Yep.
That's shitty.
Yep.
Because I've known people that have done that. And they're like, I would trade it all just to be back with my family or have them in my life or not fucked it up.
Right.
You can't be unhealthy and wealthy. That doesn't work. Like, cool, you're wealthy. I know guys that are like that, super wealthy, about to die.
Yeah.
Of like a heart attack. Cool, great. And then you can't be super wealth or super fit and broke.
Yeah.
That doesn't work. So I think what happens is we get hyper focused on certain things and we have to maintain our levels of priority. So I call it like the success matrix. You know, so like they all overlap. You know what I mean? Like if you draw like ovals, success is them. Actually, you know where I got that? Was the and we talked about it last one, was the ANS. What is that thing called? That selection assessment, that shot card that everybody had with all the different things, basically. And it's basically how you like see where a person's at. And there's been a bunch of public talks about like, do we want the most physically fit guy that we can't trust?
Right.
You know what I mean? There's levels to the game. You know, the high school quarterback or the college quarterback that comes in, you know, you're smirking because you already know.
Yeah.
He's the first one to quit.
Yep.
You know, when things get hard, he's the first one to quit. And we've seen it time and time again. Anyways, so you have to, you know, people struggle when they're coming up because they think they have to go all in on this one thing. When yes, you do, but you can't lose sight of all the other things. Like with me, I was like, you know, the deal, sleeping under the desk, wake up, work, sleeping under the desk, got unhealthy, hormones got all out of whack. I gained weight, losing the relationship with my daughters at the time. You know, like that's not success.
No.
You know,
and that's part of the dark demons too. If people don't get, you know, there's certain things that you have from your past that, you know, if someone asked me, well, how were you so successful in the Marine Corps? I said, I talked to my wife. I said, being at the top, like our run for Iraq, our first trip. Yeah, I was the company ops chief. So all the issues that we had with our guys, the platoon sergeants, you cats would talk to them and they would talk to me, but I had no one to talk to.
Yeah.
So, that's where, Phil and my wife and stuff. So those demons they stayed in my pocket for a while.
Yeah.
And people are like, well, why don't you talk to somebody? Who am I going to talk to? Some corporal or lance corporal in my platoon? I said, I can talk to the platoon sergeants. I said, but
I got to be there for them.
yeah, I was like,
Yeah.
so there's got to be a trade-off here. And the trade-off I found once I got to the schoolhouse was to rely on individuals like yourself, like Wayne Knoll and a couple other cats,
Yeah.
Ron Neal, those guys that I can make a phone call to and say, hey, I got a problem. And then be able to talk through it and not have to worry about it.
Because they lived it.
Yeah.
They're not judgmental.
No. And we talked about it too. We're never going to stop suicide. We
Mhm.
never. How can we control it? How can we put something out there to be able to read you on each and every day to see if you're on that meter?
I said it.
Where you're at.
I said it in the book, Excommunicated Warrior. I think knowledge is power. Education is power. A lot of times people, when they get in that dark, just jump right into it. When you get into that dark world of like wanting to end it,
Mhm.
I truly don't believe people want to not live.
No.
I think they're tired, they're in pain, they're just absolutely exhausted, and they just want to break from the turmoil.
Yeah.
They want to break from
reality.
the pain.
Yep.
And that's what it is. They just want to rest. They're not sleeping. They're extremely stressed out. They're extremely, they're dealing with all this different stuff, and they just want to break from it. So they make a permanent solution to a temporary problem. So in the book and on my keynotes that I talk about with that subject, I go, okay, hey guys, listen, you feel this way right now. In 6 months, you're going to want to kill yourself. Like, no, Nick, there's no way in 6 months that I'm just listen.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you.
Yep.
In 6 months, you're going to get into and that 6 months is not, it could be it could be a year, it could be whatever, but it's not
Just a
important.
number.
Just a number. But at this point, when you reach this stage in your life, and you have to process all this stuff, and you don't know how to, you're going to want to commit suicide. And here's the reason why. But I think I've had this, hundreds of people have given me feedback. They're like, damn, dude, you were spot on.
Yep.
But by me telling you that, now I'm like, oh, Nick said at this time in my life, I would feel this way. And here's the reasons why. Because like when I got to that spot, I didn't understand. There was no reasoning. There was no why. There was no, oh, you feel this way because X, Y, and Z. I think that if you can tell people, listen, when you get to this stage in transition, you get this stage in your life, you're going to want to end it. And this is the reason why. And this is what you do about it.
Yep.
That's power.
Agree. Totally.
You know what
I mean, at the end of the day, because like for myself, I was going through this part of my life and most of it, I was like, how can this happen to me? Why all of a sudden that I'm in this kind of position I shouldn't be in because I trust
26-year master guns.
Yeah.
And
I get put in this position and all of
Yeah.
a sudden I'm going, wait, did I miss something? Because you're the top. I was the top of the totem pole in the Marine Corps.
Yeah.
I get out. Now I'm the moss, the shit underneath the moss.
Nobody gives a shit.
No, you're master guns. What's that mean? Nothing. I'm just a retired E9 now. But I mean, you don't know where to turn because you're used to making all this decisions. You're used to being in charge, and now you're not. Yeah, sit in your hands. Like when I got out, I mean, the first person I came in contact with was a 24-year-old little female who was telling me how to talk to people.
Cool.
I'm like, oh, okay, honey, and I hate using that word, honey. My wife yells at me, but I said, okay, honey, how can you justify what you just said to me? She goes, just the way you talk, your demeanor, you think you're all that in a bag of chips. I said, well, first off, I am. I mean, just ask me and I'll tell you. The old saying, chicks dig me and dudes want to be like me. Ask me, I'll tell you. But the thing is, trying to explain to her, you can't talk to our guys in a tone where you're trying to be a business person. I can't go in and give like my guys an elevator brief about a company I'm working for. They're gonna look at me and say, what the fuck are you talking about, Stu? Just sit down. Let's talk.
Yeah.
But the real world is not like that. So that's why when I started my own company, it was for one of two reasons. One, to promote the gear that these guys need to have and have the ability to reach out to the companies that make it to get it at an affordable price. One. And the second thing is just an outlet for me to talk to the guys, come hang out in the store, and shoot the shit. But after a while, it just got to a point where the business was fun, but it got annoying as hell. I was driving to New York or Connecticut to teach, and then I come back and I got to run the store. And then you have problems with customers, or we're not getting our deliveries, as you know.
Yeah.
Things happen, and I'm like, why am I doing this? I'm busting my ass. I've got no time. I got no money.
I
are we
think
doing?
it's a transitional thing, right? It leads you to and that's what people say, like, well, I don't know what to do. Well, just do something,
Yeah.
and
Have a
like the same
purpose.
thing with me. Like I started STS. I consider it one of my biggest failures, which I love because
Yeah.
it led me to doing what the things that I'm doing today. But again, you look at it, what is it? It's the same thing like a store. It's
Yeah.
like the same, it's something that's familiar, that you're somewhat passionate about, but it leads you down the road to things that are away from it.
Yep.
And you have to go through that, right? You have to go through that. And if I had a dime for every time some Marine guy came out and wanted to start a training business or a gear business or some sort of tactical contracting thing, I'd be rich as shit. But, I think that what it is just, it's familiar. It's what they know.
Yep.
And the sad part of that situation is I think that they believe that's all they've got.
No, you're right.
You know
I
what
agree with
mean?
you.
It's like, well, this is what I've done. This is what I know how to do. That's pretty much, this is who I am.
It's the easy thing. It's
Yeah.
easy. The easy way to do something you know very well instead of trying to take that chance and go, well, I'm going to go outside the lines just a little bit, see where I go.
Take what I know, but go outside the lines and apply that.
And be afraid of the failure.
Yeah.
And like you always mention too, is failure is not, that's a good thing sometimes, especially in business.
Yeah.
As personal life, no.
It's a tuition payment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tuition payment.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
You're just learning.
Yeah. And that's the thing too, to figure out where you're at in life, but also to, all right, I can change it. So, I got out of the tactical business and ran a healthcare company. No goddamn clue how to run a healthcare company.
It's still running people. It's still operations.
Exactly.
It's the same shit you've always
I
been
was
doing.
high speed ops chief for a
Yeah.
healthcare company, and we were successful. The first year, we doubled our clients
Yeah.
because I used that ops chief mentality
Yeah.
to figure out, okay, we got to schedule girls. How do we track it? How do we make sure that they're getting paid correctly? And then put it down to a spreadsheet or a PowerPoint brief and made sure that everything
Yeah.
was correct. So we followed all the protocols across the board. It was during COVID. So we were top of it. We had the gloves, we had the gowns, we had the masks, we had everything we need to have. And everybody's like, well, how'd you do that? It's common sense. I need Band-Aids, bullets, and bad guys.
You're right.
Right here they are for our nurses as well as our aides. And it was just like, I don't understand how you got to this point. I was an ops chief for my last 15 years in the Marine Corps.
But being able to switch that on and go, oh, I can apply this to anything. It doesn't have to be in the tactical world. It doesn't have to be
Exactly
in the war fighting world.
Yep.
It can be literally anything.
Like now with this the podcast stuff that I'm doing with First Beto,
Yeah.
I can talk to anybody. I don't know a stranger, never met one. I have no idea what a stranger is. And for me, this is a good passion for me. It's just what my life is really all about, is me sitting down talking shit. So that's why I do this podcast.
That's what we do. That's what we do when we get older.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why I went from making stupid, silly videos to, I told everybody, I said, listen, I'm gotten older. I got more shit to say and it ain't going to be done in 10 minutes. So,
No.
so I want long form conversations and we're going to change some things. But so on the failure thing, this is where it's not just our guys, but I'll use the military portion of it. We're taught vulnerability is bad. Vulnerability is a bad word, especially in our community.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Vulnerability is something that's bad. Failure is bad. Failure is final.
Yeah.
Right. Because you're talking about loss of life. So we breed that into ourselves so hardcore that we take it outside of the military with us, and it doesn't serve us. There's nothing that serves that mentality. Does not serve you outside the military.
No, it doesn't.
Because failure is not final.
No.
It's just
You just go back to sleep, wake up the next day, and you can
do
probably
it again.
fix that failure.
Yeah, do it again.
Try to fix the failure.
Yeah.
No, but I agree with you, because at the end of the day, when you get out, there's so many things that we can relate to in civilian world.
Yeah.
As former military guys across the board, especially those that are in some type of special forces of that military.
Yeah.
They're a personality. They're strong individuals. And because of that, they got to make sure that they're peacocking all the time. And if they don't peacock, they're like, oh, something's wrong here. I'm failing. I'm being vulnerable because I'm not showing my true me. Well, you know what? You are showing your true me. It's just out of the uniform. You're in a civilian.
The ego and pride in your way.
Yeah.
So I had a friend tell me, when we were heavy into the Raider Project stuff and working with vets, he was like, listen, we need to get these guys talking about our community. We need to get these guys to know that they don't have anything to prove anymore as far as being a tough guy.
Right.
Like, you did it. You did what, like, what is it? 0.4% of the populace joined the military, and then like 0.01 joins any sort of special operations or, unit.
Yeah. Very small.
Like, brother, you did it.
Mhm.
You're a badass. You don't have to wear a badass hat anymore. There's no more checks that you need for the rest of your life.
No.
You know what I mean? You can go braid your hair and paint daisies on your face for all that you care. Still a badass because you did it.
Yeah.
Right. Now, I'm not saying that, to get soft and whatever and, in your life, but my point being is we have this, I think there's a lot of young guys out there that get out and they feel like they need to keep this vibrato up. They need to keep this image up instead of allowing themselves to become something more, to become something different. And the more that I've learned and the more that I've grown over the last 10 years, I realized that the most successful people in the world are also the most vulnerable people in the world, people that have failed the most. They're the most grateful people in the world, and they're the most giving to others. So they don't act like a badass.
No.
Like this one guy, that guy blew me away. I've talked about this in the podcast. The only openly billionaire that I've met.
Okay.
You would never guess. Never guess.
Dressed down, doesn't wear the Rolexes and all that stuff. Yeah.
Nothing, man. Yeah. Nothing. He looked like he just got done getting his ass kicked in jiu-jitsu. I think he's a black belt in jiu-jitsu, actually. 60-something years old. And he did nothing but try to serve everybody at the table. This is a billionaire. And he said, you get to a place in your life where you just, you give. That's your mission.
Right.
So, and he was completely open about his failures. I mean, I very limited interaction with this guy, but in this short time, it was like, how can I give to you? I'm super thankful for meeting you. Like, he just poured into everybody at the table.
Right.
And then he was just completely vulnerable about every problem he's ever had or currently having. He had nothing to like, there was no chest beating whatsoever.
Well, I think that's good. You got, I know quite a few millionaires, and I still think they're dickheads because they got all this money and they're just rude out in public, in my personal opinion. The guys I know, and they're friends of mine too.
But maybe low level millionaires.
Yeah. They're it's funny though, but guys like that they see where their failures were and their vulnerabilities, so they want to share that and give to you so you can be successful.
Right.
Even though you might have some vulnerabilities later on or a failure later on, you take in what he's saying, just like you do with the transition stuff.
Yeah.
You apply that.
Right.
And by just applying it small here and there, it's going to eventually make you successful because he's seen it. Well, that's like when you tell your kids, hey, don't do this. Well, because you probably have done it and you're telling them not to do it so they don't get in trouble. It's the same thing. Yeah. And at the point, like for me, it's the same way. I was in Food Lion the other day, and you could tell this lady was in a little bit of trouble. She didn't look good. You could tell by her facial expressions and her body language. And I was kind of like, So I said, hey, how much is her order? It was like $16.05. So I gave the girl 20. I said, pay for her groceries. The girl's like, no, I can do this. I said, you can. You absolutely 100% can do this. I said, but right now, this moment, you can't. So I'm giving you a helping hand right now. And then hopefully in a couple days or a year or so, you'll do the same thing to somebody else. But understand that life's not that bad.
Yeah.
It's just you got to figure out how to maneuver in that bad problems you have.
So one of the things that I've done in recent years, started probably about 4 years ago, which kind of snowballed some success, was, and talking about those failures and learning, was getting coaches, investing in myself.
Oh,
so instead of, it's crazy, man. And now I'm talking to people, that need to lose weight, want to make more money, want to make their relationships better, family unit better, whatever. And they're like, oh, I can't afford it. I'm like, well, one, you're 400 pounds and you got a family of 6 and you're type 2 diabetic and you're probably going to die soon and leave them. Because there's literally a guy. And then what's crazy is when I made that video and I said, listen, you're being selfish if you're this person and you're not getting help to better it. A lady commented and told her whole story, basically saying how that was her. Like, they had like 3 kids, they had grandkids, and he died in his like late 40s. So now they're all growing up, people are getting married, they're having grandkids, and he's not there to see any of it.
Yeah.
And he was the sole breadwinner. And so basically what my point was, if you want to, people will invest in $1,000 iPhone, not invest, they'll buy $1,000 iPhone. They'll buy whatever. They have millions of subscription services. They're spending money on
Starbucks.
Mocha choca bullshits and smack a cock lattes. But when it comes to like, I'm going to invest in my own knowledge, my own health. You know, I'm going to make me better so that I can serve my people or level up in my life.
Yeah.
Nah, I can't afford that. Like, you can't not afford that.
Right.
So when I did that, that's when everything changed for me. When I started dropping money on, they're not following you anymore because of your authority or your rank.
Mm-hmm.
Now they're following you because of your leadership. They want to follow you. Like that's the biggest thing that I've learned. Nick Freitas said something. I don't know if you know who that is. I met him when I was contracting. He was an NEK program manager.
Okay.
And Green Beret. Now I think he's in some sort of state. I think he's Virginia Congress or something like that. He's in politics now. Has a podcast. But he was like, there's two types of leaders. Ones that you follow because of their rank and authority, and you have to, but you don't really respect them.
Yep.
You're right. And there's other guys that, whether their rank was something or not, or they're in the civilian world or in the military, it's like, I'm going to follow this guy regardless.
Yeah.
Because of his level of leadership and that's the reason why with you and Phil, it was like, I'd follow these guys. I'd work for these guys anywhere. I'd follow these guys anywhere.
Right.
Because when I say why, because this shithead.
Yeah.
Oh, got it.
There's too many times across the board, whether it's in the military, civilian sector, there's too many people that use their authority as an excuse to make you do something.
Yeah.
And I saw it very clearly when I was in the healthcare business. I mean, I had phenomenal aides. These girls were good. I mean, they're underpaid and there's no respect for them. But when I left there, they all came and said, look, I enjoyed working for you because, one, you never yelled. And two, if we asked you, why this, why that, you explained it to us so we understood it. You made sure that we had the right monies coming out of our paycheck for investments. You gave us knowledge, or you never said no to us.
Yeah.
And I didn't. I made sure that those girls were taken care of. I treated them like a younger, my lioness crew.
Yeah.
That's what Casey called them. Because I had some girls in there I'd be afraid to be out in the dark alley with. They would whoop my ass or put a shank in me. But at the end of the day, they learned so much because no one gave it to them. No one said, hey, I appreciate what you're doing, or here's a raise, or they just didn't do it for 10 years. Now all of a sudden somebody cares? Someone's actually going to give me a raise or actually talk to me?
Makes for a better work environment.
Yeah, and we had a blast. I mean, they'd come in, before I got there, they never would come into the office. They would just drop their timesheets off in the drop box outside. When I got there after like the 4th or 5th month, they were all coming in to drop the thing. Just say hi.
Yeah.
Just say, I think because I'm hot. Chicks dig me and dudes want to be like me. Ask me, I'll tell you. But anyway, so, I mean, they came in all the time and, they flirted a little bit, but they felt respected.
Yeah.
They felt that there was somebody there that actually cared about them. And that's all that matters at the end of the day.
It was the same way in the when we were in that company.
Mm-hmm.
Guys would be like, your door was like, guys would come in there and hang out with you.
Yeah. And the thing is, you can't,
like corporals.
Yeah. I can't learn nothing about, I tell the story in my first podcast when I got the 240 Golf to put in my truck because I was running the turf.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there trying to remember back in the day how to manipulate this thing. So there's Lance Corporal walking down and I said, hey, Lance Corporal, what's up, Matt Sergeant? I said, hey, you know how to use this thing? You know how to work it? Set it up for me. He goes, oh, yeah. So he came up, gave me a full class, taking it down, reloading, clearing jams, how to set with the pedicle, all that stuff. And he kind of looked at me. I said, what are you so surprised for? He said, you didn't know this? I said, dude, last time I touched this thing was an SOI. So you can imagine that was like, 15, 20 years ago. But I didn't care who you were or what rank you were. If I need to find something out or ask
you have the information.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you said that because, and maybe you gave that to Phil or maybe you thought that way. He said, what's the most, what was it? Out of all the leadership, what are they called? Traits.
Yeah.
What's the most important one? I don't know. I came up with some bullshit. He said knowledge.
Yep.
Knowledge is the most important one. He's like, if you have the knowledge, you'll be successful. You have to know. You have to go out there and know everything.
Research.
You have to research and you have to learn everything. And he said, if you don't know it, find somebody who knows it. It doesn't matter what age they are, what rank they are. It doesn't matter. Go get their information and treat them well because they know it.
Yeah.
It's something I've always taken with me. So even now I'm like, jiu-jitsu or business or anything. I don't care what age you are.
Yeah.
In jiu-jitsu, I get my ass kicked by some 19-year-old kid. How did you do it? Teach me.
Yeah.
I have no ego, no pride, and like just because I'm older doesn't mean shit.
Yeah, exactly right.
You know what I mean?
And a lot of people do that. I think they trend to find themselves. They trend themselves and they figure, okay, I'm because I'm in charge of everything.
I'm supposed to know. I'm supposed to know everything.
know everything, and everybody below me is simple heads.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to pass that knowledge down. Well, you know what? Eventually, you're going to lead, dumbass, and one of those people are going to take over for you. That's how they move up. So don't be that guy and teach everybody.
Yeah.
And if you don't know, go ask. I don't care if you're a CEO of a Google and you can't figure out how to squeeze coffee. You put in water. And
there's somebody that knows how to do it really well.
Yeah. Go ask the secretary or go ask somebody. Make them feel that you care.
Yep.
I think that's why they're so successful, is that they allow their employees to do X.
Yeah.
They're not afraid to go talk to the boss. And that's a lot of companies you can't. Oh, he's an ass.
That goes back to that whole like rank and ego thing. Like, no, you're supposed to listen to me because I'm, and specifically, I've noticed this in the Marine Corps. We have a very bad cultural issue with officers in the Marine Corps, because the Marine Corps at TBS or OCS at some level, probably at TBS, they're almost indoctrined that if you're an officer in the Marine Corps, you know better. Like basically the officer Lance Corporal knows better than everybody in the platoon.
Yeah.
And they show up thinking that. Not everyone. Some people are,
Yeah, there's some phenomenal officers that I know that would never. And that's where I learned, to act the leader that I am, is that you got to be proud. Yeah. Just go, if you need to go ask the PFC to do X and you're a master guns or a sergeant major, ask them.
Yeah.
Because they have the knowledge. You don't.
They do it every day.
Yeah. And they'll feel so much better if you go down to them and say at their level and go, show me.
Show me.
And they'll be and that's the guy you're going to watch go, oh, he talked to me. Because people don't get it. A Lance Corporal talking to a master guns or a sergeant major or a first sergeant or master sergeant is huge.
Yeah.
That's like, talking to the vice president and president. People get all sweaty and palmed, all that stuff. You go and do those boards.
Am I in trouble and shit? Yeah.
You go do the boards and you got this crusty old sergeant major up there that I don't know why he's there, but anyway. Yeah, there's always been, people don't realize that E9s, the master guns and sergeant majors, we've always had an issue. And I still say it, and I'll say it until the day I die. We, the master guns, are the operation guys. We go out and we make sure boys are taken care of. You, the sergeant major, your job is to make sure that they're taken care of and their pay and their leave. Period. I'm here to advise the CEO.
You ain't advising shit about nothing.
You're a cook or a motor T guy. Now, if you're an 03 and you were in those positions,
there's a handful of those.
So be it. But your job is not to consult with the CEO on how to do mission prep.
That's one of my favorite lines from Ozark. That girl.
Oh,
like, you don't know shit about fuck.
Yeah,
that's most sergeant majors in the Marine Corps. I don't know. She's great though.
Yeah, I watched that. My wife and I watch that once in a while.
Yeah,
it's all good.
Yeah. So that's I agree. Not that there's some good sergeant majors out there. Don't get me wrong.
Oh yeah, there is. Phenomenal.
But I do have a serious problem with them in the operational realm, and especially in special operations. You've got some motor T sergeant major that's taken over command, and
I'm the command advisor. How the hell are you?
You're not command of shit.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, buddy. Give me a 9-line right now.
No.
Brought it off. Exactly. So you're clueless. Or just do a bridge rep, or let's do a beach rep. What exactly? You have no clue what you're talking about. So just sit down. Let the master people.
Here's a question from your point of view. Could specifically MARSOC, because of the way that we're organized and the mission that we have, could we flip those roles to where we have basically just first sergeants for administration, and then the actual E9 at the unit is a master guns?
Yes and no. And the reason I say it, because a lot of this thing, like the sergeant major we have at MARSOC, it's appointed by the sergeant major of the Marine Corps, obviously. The way our rank structure and command goes, there's always a sergeant major at that unit.
See, we're flawed because of the way the first
That's why we have the senior listed advisor now at MARSOC.
Yeah, but he fucking has to answer the sergeant major.
Yeah, well, if he's smart, he wouldn't have to. I'm just saying. As a senior guy, you need to sit down with your senior partner and explain things to them. Like if I was there as a master guns and was behind that glass, me and that sergeant major would sit behind that glass, and we'd figure shit out right there on the spot before we leave.
Just so we understand who's who in the zoo.
You take care of personnel, I got it, but I do everything operationally. And if he needs any kind of guidance, just stay the hell out of it, dude. Because if not, we're fighting. Period. Because that's a fighting rank.
Yeah.
When you're sergeant major, master guns, you fight. You don't argue. You just fucking throw it down and call it a day. 9 times out of 10, the sergeant major is going to back away.
It's really in the master guns. seat to set that precedence
Yeah,
for the
it is.
command.
Me personally, yes.
And if you have a weak ass master guns, then
Yeah, we have some of those.
yes.
And I hate to say that, but it's
Well, they're
true.
good. They're about to get out of there.
Yeah, you need
by the way.
to have the rank and to be in that unit with the device. Don't get me wrong; it's an honor.
Yeah.
But to use that rank and that device for your benefit because you're too weak to say something to somebody, dude, get out.
It's very pointed.
Yeah, get out.
It's a very pointed comment.
Yeah, it's like you're given the rank for a reason. You're put in that position for a reason.
Yeah.
Use it. Don't be a bitch.
Yeah.
Don't be that guy saying, "Well, there's no reason to start a hustle." Yes, there is, because your guys below you, especially in the training realm, below you is listen to what the sergeant major just told the general. No, it doesn't work that way. You should be throwing fists against the wall, saying this is how it needs to be done. This is why They say you need to learn your roles. My role is to be the advisor to the general based on operational tempo and what's going on within the world for us.
Yeah,
that's what I need. That's my job. Now, if I need personnel, I go to that sergeant major and say, "Hey, I need 3 or 4 people to put them in Lima Company or in 3221's platoon or team."
Right.
That's what I need. That's what his job is to see what I have. But I'm the one to school him. So you give me Nick Cumulato, so I'm like, okay, shit, I need to send him to a language because we need him to do language, or I need to do. That's where I come in.
Yeah.
My shortfalls in my companies or my battalions, I'm the one that fills it from the personnel you give me.
Yeah.
It doesn't work where you put them where the hell you want to. You put them where I want them because that's how our mission capability. That was what my job is. Even in the schoolhouse, my job is to ensure that the right kids that were going through the ITC course were set up for success because that's the future of us at MARSOC.
Yeah.
Now, if I have instructors that are dumbasses, which we did, and I got rid of them, they had to have the same buy-in. You're there to teach. You're not there to say, well, I heard this once, and to this day, it still runs snakes up my back. I don't want to be the guy in my dress blues at your funeral.
Yeah.
Why would you say that to a student? He doesn't know what's going on. He's got a fire hose effect. Can't shit right. Doesn't know what time it is.
Yeah, right.
And you're going to make that comment to that kid, and you're a gunny? Are you lost your damn mind? And we got in a heated argument about it. I explained to him. I said the same thing for me to say to you. If you can't learn how to be a gunny, do X, Y, and Z, I'm going to see you in a coffin, and I'll be in my dress blues. The same concept. Why would you say that to another human being? And from that point on, our teaching methods. Good on John Daly and Jeff Wilson. If I'm not supposed to say your names out here, tough shit, guys. I love you. They've taken that piece because they're phenomenal dudes. They were phenomenal leaders when they were in the Marine Corps. And so, you know what? We need to mold this to make it right for the student. Not for the command, but for the student. Because our job is to teach these kids and get them into the unit. So what do we need to do? And they did, they do a great job up there. So.
That's a polarizing thought in some people's level.
Yeah.
They think a lot of people are looking too much at the command and not as much as the Marine.
You have to.
Yeah.
That's what makes the command.
Right.
That's the thing. People
it's a backwards way of thinking. Yeah.
People are like, well, we need, no. You need to get these people to go into your command. You don't need the command into the people because it doesn't work that way.
Well, I can take I've taken that same concept and looked at the business, right? Mm-hmm. So in my business, what am I focusing on? The client. Yes, you can focus on getting new clients, and we do that.
Yeah.
But if you're not focusing on the ones that you have, those ones that you have are going to be your evangels that are going out there and telling the world about what you're doing. Take care of the people that you have right there. It will trickle up. It's a little bit longer, but the product that you have is so much of a better product.
Agreed. Also, too, a business, I will never do a $1 million deal. Won't. But I'll do $1 million $1 deals all day long.
Yeah.
Because you have the word of mouth. I mean, let's be honest. You have such a following for not only for the books that you put out, the transition stuff that you're talking about, the how to make your body better, you're a spokesperson for well-being, for good life. And you're passionate about it. And that's what's good. But your passion came from somewhere.
Yeah.
Okay. So where did that passion come from? From your time in the military. Because you picked up pieces here and then put them in your bag, other stuff you left out.
Yeah.
And look at you today. Yeah, that's the biggest thing. You can say something about yourself.
It's not a straight road.
What? I thought, you pick up the bottle of water, you open it, it's done, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that how it works?
Definitely
Be successful?
Definitely not a straight road.
So
you're going to have to weather the storm.
Give me just a short synopsis of a trial or tribulation you went through to make you where you are today. Just something small.
I don't got small. I got something big.
All right, let's go big.
Remember when I think it was like 16 when like the whole world came against me on the internet?
Yeah, don't worry, I'll still kick their ass, dude.
Yeah.
I got your back, bro.
So I know, but it was, here's the thing, Stu, and I think I've publicly talked about this, maybe on some other podcasts, but I was doing all the things that I thought that I was supposed to do.
Right.
Being a quiet professional, not talk about the things that I've done, really just focus on external stuff. And granted, you know, during that time I had rose to a certain level of popularity on the internet.
Right.
But it's still, I would never talk about things. You know what I mean? I was very guarded with the way that I worded things and the way that it was very generic, right? Because you're supposed to be a quiet professional, right? You're not special. There's no special in special operations, right? I'm like, it's on the fucking board. It's like, it says it's on the building. I don't understand.
Yeah.
But you're not a special butterfly. And I was like, okay, well, you know, I want to respect my community. I want the guys to respect me. I want to bring respect to what I'm doing. Right. And then continue to help people. So I did that. So I did everything that I was supposed to do the way that I thought I was supposed to do it, to help people, but not also, you know, go color outside the lines. Right. They still trashed me. Yep. Guys still, absolutely destroyed me. I lost probably 3 years of networking. Not everybody, but I'd say 95% of my network at the time disappeared. Right. And I was like, what the fuck?
And why?
For nothing.
Exactly.
For nothing. Yep. For absolutely fabricated, made up bullshit. So after I went through this like grieving period, you know, and I did, man, I wanted to quit. I was like, what the fuck's the point of helping people? Right. Like, fuck this, man. Like, I'll just go do something else and fuck these assholes. So once I got over my own self-pity garbage, you know what I mean? But it did crush me for a little while because I did everything that
You felt betrayed.
Yeah. I thought I did everything that I was supposed to do, right? Yeah. That they told me to do. And I got trashed anyway. Once I got to the other side of it, I was like, wait a minute. I can cross my T's, dot my I's, do everything I'm supposed to do, and they're going to talk shit about me. Yep. Well, then if they're going to like destroy me publicly for doing this anyway, then what if I just did whatever the fuck I want to do and say whatever the hell I wanted to say?
Use it in your benefit.
Yeah, and use it in my benefit.
Yep, I agree.
Put a fucking device on it, call myself a Marine Raider, fucking tell everybody so I can do whatever I want to do. I'm going to do whatever the fuck I want to do now. Yep. Guess what happened?
It did well.
Fucking made more money.
Yeah.
People stopped talking. I mean, for the most part, like the gross thing, people stopped talking shit.
Yeah. Because they saw the background.
I'm like, what am I going to like?
Let's be honest. We'll put everything out on the table right now. The cards are here. Nick Kumalatos, Recon Marine, Raider, got out in 2012. Tried to be the nice guy and do this and help everybody out. Okay, well, it kind of didn't work out.
That didn't really work out. Yeah.
So I said, you know what? Screw it. Let me think about me. Yeah. Me, you know, there is me and team. Yeah. Right? So let me think about me. Well, you know what? I'm going to use what my career was, and I'm going to go write books as the Raider, the transitions, you know, for the prep schools. And then also, too, I'm going to go out and I'm going to publicize, you know what? I don't give a shit what you think about me.
Nothing.
Because my wife.
We were talking. You don't fuck me.
Yeah, you don't pay me.
Yeah.
So get out, dude.
So, and all those guys, and I love it now. I love the haters now. But we were talking.
I can't.
We were talking about it now. You have to get to a certain, I think once you go through that, right?
Yeah.
You go through that and it's like, now it truly doesn't matter. I truly don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Like if you're listening to this and you hate me, that's awesome. Keep watching, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Keep watching.
Keep listening.
And I'm going to keep getting more rich. Yeah. And I'm going to keep building. And I'm going to keep, my life's going to keep getting awesome while you keep watching.
Yeah.
Fucking keep watching.
I
do it. And I do it. They say something. I'm like, I just laugh. I'm like, keep watching, motherfucker.
Now, do you actually post when the people write shit? Do you actually go back and post?
Oh, yeah.
So you do it. You don't have a team do it.
No, I mean, they get a little nervous because they're like, oh no. But I'm like, I don't give a shit. I'll comment. And I love my favorite one is just okay. Like you commented that one. They'll send this paragraph. I'm like, okay.
And the thing is, based off the thing we talked about earlier, is where'd they get this knowledge from? Where did they get the information to say what they said?
No,
they don't know.
They don't know. So, but now people are like, oh, do you even lift or do you do this or you're just on steroids or blah 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 blah. I'm like, okay.
Yes, all above. Why?
But here's the thing. What they don't know. Here's how fucking stupid they are, Stu. Here's how stupid you are. If you hate me and you comment on my shit, if they truly hated me and wanted me to fail, they would act like I don't exist.
Exactly. Ignore you.
Ignore me.
Yep.
But by commenting on my stuff, and by it keeps the algorithm, the riff continues, and I only get more popular, and people only you comment on something negative. That's why do you think I say okay?
Yeah. When I saw I want okay. Me personally, I just
you don't like your people getting fucked with.
No.
Yeah.
I fucking hate. I mean, even today I'm a
Phil's
civilian.
Feels the same way.
I don't dig it.
He'll call me and he's all up in arms about somebody that said something about me. I'm like, Phil, so it's okay, man. He's like, no, fuck that guy and fuck the horse he rode in on. I'll kill his dog and everything. I'm like, it's cool, bro.
We still protect those though.
Yes.
And that's the thing.
And I truly appreciate that. But it really, what it does in the algorithm on the internet world is it just brings more traction. And Ali goes, I talk about him all the time. I think he's like a heavily religious guy, but I think Trent Shelton, he was an NFL player.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't remember who he played with, but he was like, because I guess, if you're in the NFL, you're going to have haters.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? And he goes, oh bro, those are just confused fans.
That's good.
He's like, they're just confused. They're fans because they follow all my shit. They comment on all my shit.
They're just confused.
They're just confused fans.
Yeah, no shit.
I
mean, it's a good point. Confused fans.
Well, it's like the guy that I told you. I called him. He was messaging me stuff, and I finally just said, "You're being a bitch."
Right.
You're being a bitch. I was fucking. No, you mean I'm no bitch? I'm like, no, you're acting like a bitch.
Right.
You must be a bitch. And he's and so anyways, we went back and forth, and I said, and he owned up to it. He's like, dude, you're right. I was being a bitch. And I said, here, man, here's my calendar link. Book a call. Let's book a 15-minute call. And he goes, why I was a dickhead this whole time, commenting negative stuff. I'm like, why would you mess up? Like, because I knew you got to look at what my business is.
Yeah.
I told you earlier, I said, I'm in the business of taking men acting like a bitch and make them victors, make them men,
right?
Make them the leader of their house, that are setting the example for their kids and their wife and their communities. And the guys that are this is what blows my mind, Stu. There are guys that are in their 40s, have kids and wives and careers, trolling the internet, making stupid comments on other people, and like angry.
Yeah.
What the fuck is wrong with you, dude? Get your shit together. Hold on. So I call this. The guy gets on the phone, and we had this whole conversation. He's like, "Yeah, you're right. I'm not living with purpose. I don't have my priorities straight. I'm overweight. Blah 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 blah." I'm like, "Bro, listen." He goes, "Why would you take the time with me?" Because I want you to get better, dude.
Yeah.
I saw you being like a bitch. I'm like, this guy.
I want to help you.
Yeah. That's it.
That's all.
That's all.
There's everybody thinks there's got to be a background. Why you want to help me? It's because that's what I do for a living. Oh, that's right. That's what my business.
That's what my business is.
My business to help people get them out of their funk. And you can't. What I get upset about it is that I'm not a very articulate individual. I cannot write to save my ass. If it wasn't for spell check, I'd be screwed.
Yeah.
And it wasn't for Debbie across the street. Yeah, but I can talk.
You can talk.
So take your happy ass out from behind that computer, sit in front of me, and talk to me.
Yeah.
Don't be a bitch about it.
Yeah.
My whole thing is, if you have all this testosterone, all these balls, come on and basically tell me that I'm fucked up like two football bats.
You're a beta bitch if you're doing that.
Just come see me.
Yeah.
Don't talk shit to me, because I hate, especially when people that I know, I want to run through that damn computer and just.
So you asked me what was the thing that was a pivotal moment for my success,
sure,
and if you really, for those that people that have followed me for a long time, they can really see kind of like this like dabbling effect, like kind of dabbling and figuring it out,
yeah.
And then after that, it was like fucking rocket fuel, because I just stopped giving a fuck.
That's probably the best way to look at it. Like for me, I don't care.
I stopped.
People always say, "Why don't you get upset about that?" What do you?
Nick's this. Nick does this. Now I'm gonna give like fuck you. I don't give a shit.
But Nick's a good guy. That's what someone told me. He was a good guy, so I want to talk. Just want to talk to him. It's like out of control. Again, too, it comes down to, don't be mad at someone who's successful, who's trying to help you and better you.
Yeah.
The embedment of how things go with life.
Well, it's like you gotta ask yourself, why is this pissing me off?
Yeah.
Why? Wait a minute. Why is this pissing me off?
Because you're successful.
Well, just like if what he says pisses you off, why? Because it hits home?
Yeah, that's true. I never looked at that. That's why I don't get involved with that bullshit.
Am I offending you for some reason?
Yeah.
because is it hitting a little too close to home? So you won't. It's something that you don't want to take ownership of. Like, well, I don't agree with that. Okay,
it's a good argument then. If you don't agree with it, but don't blast me and my family. Just stay away from that.
Yeah.
The 4 F's of life: family, food, finance, and friends.
Yeah,
that's my box, my 4 corners. Stay the fuck away from them, because if not, we're gonna have issues. And I'm not a violent guy. I don't believe in violence. I think it's wrong. But I will talk to you, and we'll have a come to Jesus by sitting here. I don't need to raise my hands, but I'm telling you, when we get done talking, you're gonna realize we were talking.
Yeah,
because the thing is, if we could get rid of that crap. That's what I call it, crap. Out of society today, I think we'd be in better position. Like I said earlier, if you wake up in the morning and look in that mirror and you can't smile yourself, go to fuck back to bed and turn around and try it again.
Try again.
And I had someone say to me, well, what if you don't have time? Well, draw a smiley face in your mirror after you take your shower with all the condensation. Do that. And once you do that,
then laugh at it.
Yeah, laugh at it.